Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel for this episode 26 here on New Frontier with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, we have moved into October, so a little time has passed not only in real life but here on the map. There are a few things, of course, that I need to update you on. We ended up with 56,000 liters of oats off of the oat field. I did not write down how many bales of straw we got off it, but I do recall it was less than one stacking wagon load, and that holds 24 bales. So I'm thinking around in the 20 bale mark. But you know what? It really doesn't matter how many bales it was because it wasn't enough. And we had pens that needed some straw, and I actually had to buy straw. We had all our straw bales at that point were in the production for making TMR. That is one bit of a surprise. We are going through an awful pile of straw. We also did the soybean harvest. I actually did that this morning. It's a little afternoon here on the farm on the first day of October, so I did the soybean harvest this morning. We got 49,000 liters of soybean, and I did write down the bales this time, 33 soybean straw bales that are currently actually still sitting on the field. They need to be picked up yet. And when I do get them picked up, they are going in this shed here and just to be used for bedding. We are going to make straw from our corn stalks, but that we will use to mix in with our TMR. Now, the other big news was Tim and I did come to an agreement on the sawmill, and we sold the sawmill and its assets for $2.5 million. So that went into our bank account. So we are now sitting at $12.65 million in round numbers. We will no longer have monthly sawmill income, which was pretty darn nice. So the only monthly income we'll see now will be, we'll get a little bit from our BJ. We can see off in the distance. It's a few thousand a month. And then it's right around the neighborhood of 20,000 a month, I believe we're getting from the greenhouse slash bakery, Grandma's Bakery up there. So we'll have that still as monthly income, but that is it. Now, those of you that are counting on your fingers and toes saying, I think there's some money missing. Of course, Farmer Murphy spent some money. All will be revealed. So let's get started with that reveal. We'll jump in the Kubota here. And we'll run down and take a look at our feedlot. I spent some money there. I have added animals. Up here in our breeding pens, there is 200 in each of these pens, and all of the new animals I've added are mature cows, so we get calves as soon as possible. And then in the next set of pens, there are actually 75 in each of these pens. That was a small Farmer Murphy oops there. I actually meant to have 50 in here, but I forgot I had added some the month before, and I added them again. So we have 75 in here of various ages. There'll be basically 25 out of each pen come for sale 3 months in a row. And then down here, we have 50 in these two pens. And I think I'll probably add another 25 to bring them up to 75 as well. And again, I've been buying them in batches of 25 so that they will their sale will be offset. So I invested some money there. Part of the reason that it took so long to come back on this map because it was all the off-camera work, and it wasn't so much the field work, but it was work with the animals, because between these 6 pens here, I have, last count was about 1.3 million liters of TMR in these pens. So I've been making it ahead. If we run up and look at our bale storage here, you'll see it's just about empty. I've just about converted all of those bales that we made, grass bales, into TMR. You can see there's a few still back in there. So I have been working hard on that. but it means that I have to sit here and just let the game run. I'm getting about 4 loads of 45,000 liters each day. So I just speed up time, but and till the next load is ready and empty it. But it still takes a bit of time, and of course I got to keep filling the production up because it doesn't hold a lot either. So it's a little bit of a time-consuming thing, but I just wanted to be a good distance ahead. Now, sorry, I'm just thinking here. I didn't quite think this through. Something I don't want to reveal just yet. Uh, let's go down this way. It's actually not that big a deal. It's just the corn harvest hasn't started, but it will be, and I haven't got it going yet. So that kind of messes with my storyline a little bit. But that's no problem. Oh yeah, we got this grass to do again this month. Forgot about that. Glad I drove over this and saw that it was ready. So there is our canola field. You can see it is all harvested. Or not canola, I'm sorry, soybean. And there's our bales. And there you can see where $650,000 went. That little Mamby Jacker was expensive. Let me tell you. But it is a beauty. But I figured we might as well pull the pin, and I wanted to get a self-propelled sprayer on the farm, and Case wasn't available or wasn't an option, but this Fendt was, and that's a pretty nice machine. And I've got some spraying to do. I've got to fertilize both of these fields here. This is our barley field that I put in a month ago, I guess it was. And this is our wheat field. I looked at the map and determined this was the biggest field. So I put wheat in here. I've already done the spraying with this unit over here on our canola. You can see the weeds are, well, most of the weeds are dead. It looks like I missed a few there. But we got some spraying that we're going to do here as well. But I think that brings you up to speed. It was mostly, this was the biggest purchase right here. Oh, and I had to buy a corn header. I waited to see if one would come up in the used market, but no such luck. So that cost us $125,000 that we just bought today, actually. Okay. I think that is everything for now. So what I'm going to do is let me get the corn harvest going because I actually have that automated. That is going to simulate Grandpa Walter and Frank doing that. And we're going to catch some of that, and then we're going to come and we're going to do a little spraying. Oh, and I have been paying, or I should say, I did pay Frank his money. He started with us last month. So I put his 80,000 in. I don't know if it's quite the right term, but I'm going to call it escrow. So now we don't need to pay him again till next September, another 80 grand. And he's actually been quite helpful because he's helped taken an interest in the greenhouse and the bakery and has been helping Grandma and Grandpa Walter out. And they've kind of got him trained up on their little operation up there. So if they want to go away, he's able to look after it. So I don't need to worry about that. So that's pretty cool. It's going to be a little while yet here before we have some cattle ready to sell, other than if we get some like really mature cows here that we sell. Like once they get over 30 months, we sell them and buy some younger ones again. But that's all right. We'll just keep working away, and kind of it'll be that very similar cycle. We'll do a fall episode and kind of a spring episode until we're ready to sell cattle. Oh, you know what? I forgot to show you this. This was new too. I went and bought a small Freightliner to use as a yard truck here. I use it to pack the slurry around. You might notice that is a different slurry tank. The one I had in was just uh, it was oversized for what we really needed, and this truck had a little issue with it, pulling it because it was so large. So I put this one in. It's a light tanker. It only holds 22,000 liters, something like that. But this truck has no problem dealing with that all around the farm. And then I can also use this. I use it to shuttle the cattle around with our cattle trailer here on the farmyard. So this wasn't, I'm sorry, I don't remember the money. It wasn't terribly expensive, and we actually got made money on the deal for when we switched the slurry trailer out. Yes, good thing I drove up here. Just about forgot about that. All right, let me get this corn harvest on the go, and I will meet you when that operation is in full swing. So I'll see you in a minute. Well, we're taking a bird's eye view of the corn harvest here, well underway as you can see. Grandpa Walter is currently running the harvester, and you can see the hopper is just about full. And if we just pan over here a little bit, you can see Frank in the carting tractor waiting in the wings for the call to go unload him. So I think we should see that any moment now, I believe. And there goes Frank. So while he's catching up with Grandpa Walter, I will just fly over here and show you. You will see down there, well, let's go down a little bit here, a gray pickup. That is Frank's. So if you see that sitting around the farmyard, you know who that belongs to. Now, there comes Frank. Now this is the second unload, so this will nearly fill that grain cart. It holds just over 40,000, I think 41,000 and some odd number, like 41,030 or something like that liters. The harvester holds 20,000, so this is the second unload, so it'll have 40,000 in it, and Frank will head off and unload in our truck. So far, so good. There is going to be a little gameplay testing here in a minute because I had to change the way the truck and cart were interacting at the unload point, and I don't have time to test it in real life and still get this recording done. So we're going to hope it works. So now, as soon as Grandpa Walter is cleared out of the way, Frank is going to head down here, and you can see our truck sitting there. And in that open area that I said I was going to use for just this purpose. So on the right hand side there, we should see Frank come up and unload into the truck for field, what I call field 43, or this cornfield. And then there's an unload point on the left hand side for the field behind the truck there. So that particular location will be used for both fields. And I'm hoping to set up a system like that for pairs of fields, just one unload point for two fields. The issue I was having is after they unloaded, they kind of argue for the same space. I don't know why we're quite so far away here. So I changed it. I actually changed the unload sides, and I haven't tested that. But theoretically, the truck should have enough of a head start to keep ahead of the tractor, and they won't be arguing for the same piece of real estate. Let's see, shall we? Now this will nearly fill the truck up, so he will take off, and that is me in the truck. I am amazingly two places at once. Oh, the truck is slow to take off. Come on, buddy. You know what? I think they're going to end up at the same place. Oh, I thought the truck would get out first, but no. Frank is going to get out first, and the truck will come in behind. All right, well, that works. Now, I thought I put a big enough loop in there the truck would actually beat the tractor out, but it didn't. But anyways, no matter. It works. All good. So the truck's heading to the silo, and he's going to dump that in there and come back and sit and wait for the next load. So all good. All right. So we'll leave that to carry on, and we'll go get organized and get some spraying done. So I'll catch up with you in a minute. Okay, we've got spraying underway. I've got course play doing this just so we can take some different shots. Interestingly enough, there is a little trick you can do so that the AI, when you've got a worker in there, is actually your avatar, and it is not working. I don't know if it's now disappeared because of the update, or if it's something to do with this mod or this map, but it doesn't work, so you actually don't see my smiling face in there. Unfortunately. Nice looking beastie though. Now, I know technically I shouldn't be doing this when the corn harvest is going on, but there is lots of time in game. Like there's no advantage to me in game to do it, but there's a big advantage in real life, so I can get this recording done. So we'll just pretend that the corn harvest is done, but it's actually ongoing over there. Now, courseplay took, by default, a odd pattern for this field, I think. I would have gone the other direction, but it's going to go back and forth, what I would call sideways. And I'm pretty sure I could have actually forced that, but I just forced it to go the other direction, but I didn't bother. So it's fertilizer we're putting down on this field, and then we've got a few fields I need to spray with herbicide. And I believe I mentioned earlier that the reason I decided to go with the sprayer now, not only did we have the money, but we have a fair bit of spraying that needed to be done. Let's take another look from dead on the front like this. Well, it looks pretty mean coming across the field like that. Well, you know what? I think we can... Oops, that isn't what I wanted to do at all. That's what I wanted to do. We can take a look from in cab here for a little bit. So, pretty nice looking outfit. There you can see our GPS working. Take a look and see how our spray is coming along. This bad boy's got all the bells and whistles. So like I said, when it was done, it was over 600 grand. Was not cheap, but we could afford it. Now, I did mention a while back that our goal was with our cows to end up in a position where we were back over the $13 million mark, where we had that windfall from all the logging. And the fact that we're sitting at 12.6 million, you say, well, that just doesn't seem much of a challenge. I haven't mentioned yet that we are nowhere near done spending the money. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about next once we get this spraying done. You know what the heck? We might actually even go and spend some of that money before we end this episode. We should have time, I'm thinking. I believe this should be the last pass here. And there we go. A nicely fertilized field. It's got kind of a neat fold animation. And there we go. I'll actually just unfold it so you can see it. The boom folds all the way forward and then swings back. All right, so I've got more spraying to do, but I do need to get over and monitor that corn harvest. And I'll check how much time we've used in this episode, because there's one thing I definitely want to do before we wrap it up. But we'll see if we have more time to throw some more farming activities in. So let me get all that organized, and I'll come back to you here in just a little bit. Well, as you can see, the corn harvest is done. We ended up with 102,000 liters off of this cornfield, so that's pretty darn good. Now, I looked at the time we had available, and I thought, you know what, I could sneak in a little bit more farming, I think, and not a whole lot, because what we're going to do next is kind of go over what the plans are for the winter, because this will be the last episode for this fall, and when we get together it'll be in the spring, so I'll just give you a little heads up as to what you will see when spring rolls around. So I thought, well, I'd jump in here and we'd show this pair in action because they haven't gotten any screen time for a while. I mean, there's lots to do here on the farm, but pretty much all of it's repeat. So I thought, well, these guys deserved a little dusting off, shall we say. Now, Frank, he jumped in the sprayer, and I think if we look across, we'll probably see it sitting that tree wasn't in the road, way off in the distance there beside the shop. He's getting it set up to do some weeding, because we've got a couple fields that we need to spray herbicide in, so that's what he's up to. So he jumped in there. And Grandpa Walter, he jumped in his easy chair. I think he's cashing it in for today. He got to run the harvester, and that's where his interest stopped. Which is just fine. So one of the things I need to do this fall is I really need to take a look at what we have on hand as far as crops go and what we need for our productions and to feed our animals. And then from that, kind of make a crop plan. Now, I have been influenced a little bit lately because Grandma needed to make or wanted to make baking goods from all of the different flour types that were available. And so we've been trying to accommodate that. But once we do that, we're not going to worry about that. And we're also not running that production at full tilt. I'm just dropping in once a month a truckload of some crop that she can use to make her goods. And when it runs out, it runs out. That's the end of it. And we're not running multiple at one time. So I think it's wheat and rice. That's the word I was looking for. Wheat and rice we need to do, and we have those a plan for those. And it's kind of the same with Grandpa Walter's dairy. We're not running enough dairy animals, but to keep it going full time. Now we still have a room for a few more cows, dairy cows. I think the pen is like only about 3/4 full, but the goats and the water buffalo are full. Although there are, both of them have some juvenile animals in there that won't be producing milk just yet. So their production will go up a little bit, but we're not going to do anything to increase that. It just is what it is. And he's making cheese out of most of it. He does a little bottled milk and butter for Grandma in her bakery, but other than that, everything just gets processed into cheese. So our biggest concern is feeding the animals and what we need to do there. And once I get that figured out, and that's a trickier one because, our cows, though, are, still going to increase in number. We've got a handle on the grass, but it's kind of like the mineral feed and some of the other things. Although we're still having to buy mineral feed, our production cannot keep up to the demands for the mineral feed. So I think that'll always be the case. All it's going to do for us is offset that cost a little bit with what we can make ourselves. And I believe that's the only place we're using the soybeans. So basically, once we've got enough beans on hand to run for a year, we're good. Now, if our harvest that we just did gave us enough beans to run for 2 years, we won't need any field dedicated to soybeans, as an example. Unless, of course, we want to use it for a cash crop. And that's the kind of analysis I have to do down the line so I know what to do in this expansion we're going to talk about. And like I said, I'm really hoping it's the last expansion for the farm. But you know what? I've been wrong before. So that's kind of going to be our cycle. And I think I mentioned that before. We'll probably do there'll just be a fall episode and a spring episode. Because I was going to say I don't have plans on any other equipment, but that's not true. Because that's what we're going to talk about next, is our final expansion in that regards. But it's then just running the farm and getting our money back up to that target of 13 million after we spend what we spend here in just a little bit. But of course, anything that like our first big cattle sale, we've sold the odd, like just a few old cows that that have hit that 30-month target and had their last set of calves. We've done that, but we're going to have some big cattle sales coming up here, and we'll certainly bring you in for that whenever that happens. And I'm going to have to continually buy a few, I think, until our breeding stock can kind of take over from that. And honestly, I don't think we'll be on the map long enough that we'll actually be raising 100% our own cattle. We'll always have to buy a few head in to the feedlot to fatten up for sale. Well, we'll just take a little look inside because I'll bet you I only had about 10 minutes to spare or thereabouts. And I had toyed with the idea of not doing this and making it just a little bit shorter episode, and I thought, no, got to get a little more farming in for the folks. So, like I said, I may live to regret that come editing time. But I think we'll finish up this row here, and then we'll jump to our next activity. So I will have to tell you how many bales we got when we do our spring update. Again, whatever that number is, I'm pretty sure it won't be enough. All right, let's shut this operation down here, and I will meet you at a new location. See you in just a minute. Well, I'm down here in our canola field and just about to mark some trees that I want Tim to take out this winter. Part of our first steps of our what I hope will be our last winter expansion here. This one here. Now I found that this a little bit trickier on. Oh, maybe I've got the hang of it now. I was going to say I found it a little trickier to do here on 25 than I did on 22. Of course, I'm on PC versus console, but I might have got the hang of it here now, more or less. And anyways, I need to get all of these trees marked because they're coming out for sure as part of our winter expansion. Now, I think the next thing, the best way to explain this is for me to go into flight mode. So let me do that and we will talk up in the air. So catch up with you in a second. All right, I think we're ready to fly. Yes, we are. Get a bird's eye view. All right. So these trees for sure are coming out. These are the ones I was marking just to make more room for a larger equipment because that little gap there is a bit small for what we have. Now, the first thing we need to do, or I should say I needed to do, was to find a spot to put a rice field. And now the rice field needs to be perfectly flat. And there isn't a lot of perfectly flat ground around here, actually, when you swing around. But this area here, to the other side of the field we were just at, is not too bad. I think I can make a rice field in there. Now, the rice field, once we've made it the first time, we satisfy my grandma's requirements, and we could undo it from what I understand, but I think we'll put in a good sized rice field and we'll just keep it and we'll continue to run rice. But if we look at the map here, that piece of property is this one here and this one here. Some of it is, let me get that info, come on out of there, is on the other side of the road. Our road comes down like this. And if we want the road to be the dividing line, then we're going to need both of those fields. So we'll do that. So we're going to buy those two plots. Let's gain some altitude here again. So this one here on this side, we'll turn to a rice field as large as we can, and we'll get Tim to take those trees out. And then we're going to gain a little area over here. And what I'll do is I'll get Tim to take these few trees out, and I'll just extend our field down sort of like this. I won't take these ones out here to square it up. I'll just kind of follow the curve around to the bush because I think the property ends somewhere in this neighborhood below us, something like that. So that'll expand that field. Now there is one more plot that I want to buy, and that is over here. We need to gain a little more altitude here. And that's the one that is, well, it's easier to see on the map. Right here. Okay, that's would join up basically our grass field and what was our canola field, this plot 57. And what I want to do with that is I wanted to take this, and instead of having it be a horseshoe to make an island of trees in the middle, but we don't own the land, so I want to bring this field out and around this bunch of trees. And I might get Tim to take these trees out here, although they're fairly thick and there's quite a few, but see how what time allows. But I may do that and we'll just have this island of trees here. And then for the rest of this area, I'll get Tim to clear that and we're going to extend our grass field. Now, just how much I take for grass field and how much I take for crop field will depend on somewhat on those calculations I'm going to do for what we need for crops. But I do know we can stand to have a little bit more grass. All right, now there's one more thing I'd like to do here at the farm, and I'd like to take either these two fields on this side of the road or these two crop fields on this side, and at least one of them combine into one large field. probably these two here, I'm thinking, on this side of the road that we're looking at. So we have one like really big field on the farm at least. But again, in order to do that, I have to make sure that all our needs for the crops that the farm requires are taken care of. But this field will be a pretty good sized field too, especially if we take these trees out. So I'm thinking I may leave them separate. And then of course we have these two fields, this one here, which I don't think there'll be any further expansion on, that we had our corn in, and then our sorghum one up here again. I mean, we could buy property and expand this one, but I'm really not planning on doing that. But so that's the final expansion I'm thinking of doing here on this part of the farm. Now, if we fly down here towards town, I said I had a plan for these fields, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy these two. Well, actually, let's look at the map again. I'm going to buy field is 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 1 and 2, I'm thinking of putting together and making a carrot field. Then between 3, 4, and 5, I want to make parsnips and red beets, and then spinach. And then where am I at here? There's a bit of an area in here. Now that one field has grass in it, so I'll have to kind of identify where it is in this area. So between this field that we can see and the house, there is another field in there. But in that same kind of area, if we go down here now and land, it's pretty flat. I'd like to put a shop that has all of the equipment we need to do the vegetables, like the vegetable planters that we need, the harvesters and that, and they'll be kept down here. Oh, and this is a new house, by the way. I don't think you've seen this yet, but we have some new people move into town. There it is. Very nice. So that's what's going to go on down here. The carrots, of course, we need for our pig food. That's why I want a larger area for them, because it's actually the primary component in our pig food. And then all of the rest, we're just going to sell to the market as fresh vegetables. They're looking for that. Now, will this be enough property to cover off that cost? Or justify the cost of that? Oh, probably not. I haven't worked it out. Harvester's going to cost us like $1 million. The land won't cost us that much. Let's jump back up in the air and head towards the farm. The land's not going to be all that expensive, but we're definitely going to go through probably 1.25 to 1.5 million to do all of this work. And then the challenge is that going to be enough that between that and the cattle, we can then run the farm and get back across that $13 million mark. We'll see. But that's what my hope is, that we can just run that then, and we won't need to add anything more other than animals, because I think we'll always have to be adding to our feedlot here. I am going to continue to add in any event, but I don't think we'll get to the point before the series is over, where we can rely on just animals from our own breeding stock. I think we'll always have to supplement that. So that's what's going to go on here this winter. Oh, I forgot to mention what I'm going to do as far as money from all this. I'm just going to get a flat fee from Tim. I'm going to kind of pay attention to how much comes out of here, but I'm thinking somewhere about in the $250,000 range would be fair, because there's definitely, I'm pretty sure there's going to be over $1 million worth of lumber in here for Tim. So somewhere in there, something like that, whatever kind of feels right based on what comes out of here. And this will make a big part. There is a lot of trees. It may not seem like it, but there's a lot of money just because they are so densely packed in there by the time you take all those out. But that's what I'm going to work on between now and spring. And so when I bring you back in, that will all have been settled, and we'll have a crop plan, or hopefully we'll have a crop plan So that's what you got to look forward to. And that's a lot of off camera work. That's kind of the reason why I decided to jump in and start another series now, because this map's got a lot of off camera work. think I'm over 300 hours on here now. We're getting very close to it anyways. So, and I've got lots of work to do between now and spring, where we can reset and start the next year. So with that, I will leave you there. I hope you'll come back and see what the end result is. Like, I'll be as surprised as you are from this point forward, because I haven't got everything finalized. But if you're still with me, I really appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see when other content like this lands, hit that old notification bell. But for this episode here on New Frontier, it's Farmer Murphy signing off.